Some places have histories so dark that the buildings themselves seem to remember. Not haunted in the way movies show you. No floating ghosts, no sudden jump scares. Just places where so many terrible things happened that the darkness never fully left. These are 5 of those places. They are all real. You can visit every single one of them, if you dare.
Poveglia Island. There is a small island in the Venice Lagoon in Italy. It sits between Venice and Lido. You can see it from the water. Beautiful, quiet, completely abandoned. No residents, no tourists allowed. The Italian government has banned public access for decades. Poveglia Island. And the reason nobody goes there goes back over 600 years. In 1314, the Black Death arrived in Venice. The city needed somewhere to put the dying, somewhere far enough away that the disease would not spread further. They chose Poveglia. Thousands of plague victims were shipped to the island. Those already dead were burned in massive piles. Those still alive were burned with them. Historians estimate that over 100,000 people died on that small island. The soil of Poveglia is said to be 60% human ash. Every time someone digs into the ground there, they find bones. But the plague was only the beginning. In 1922, the island was converted into a psychiatric hospital. Patients reported seeing the ghosts of plague victims. They reported hearing voices from the walls. The hospital director, the man responsible for the patients, began performing experimental procedures on them.
The Stanley Hotel. In 1909, Freeland Oscar Stanley built a hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. He built it because his doctors told him the mountain air would help his tuberculosis. It did. He lived another 30 years. The hotel was beautiful. 142 rooms, stunning mountain views, classical music in the ballroom every evening. The perfect place to rest. In 1974, a writer named Stephen King checked into room 217. He and his wife were almost the only guests. The hotel was closing for the winter. The staff had gone home. The corridors were empty. The ballroom was empty. The whole vast, beautiful hotel was just them. That night, Stephen King had a nightmare so vivid, so complete, that he woke up in a cold sweat, sat down, and began writing immediately. The result was The Shining. But here is what most people do not know. The things in The Shining were not entirely fiction. Room 217, the room where King stayed, has been reported by dozens of guests over the years. Luggage unpacking itself, lights turning on and off, the feeling of someone sitting on the bed when nobody is there.
Aokigahara Forest. At the base of Mount Fuji in Japan, there is a forest. 14 square miles of ancient woodland. The trees grow so densely that wind cannot pass through them. It is completely silent inside. No birds, no animals. Just silence. And the trees. Aokigahara, the Sea of Trees. Also known by another name, the Suicide Forest. Since the 1950s, Aokigahara has been the site of more confirmed suicides than almost any other single location on Earth. Over 500 confirmed cases since records began. The actual number is believed to be much higher. Every year, Japanese authorities conduct a search of the forest. Every year, they find more. The forest floor is covered in roots that twist above the ground, making walking difficult.
People who enter sometimes tie rope or ribbon to trees so they can find their way back out. Some ribbons go very deep into the forest, and then simply stop. Authorities have placed signs at the forest entrance. The signs say things like, "Your life is precious. Think of your family. Please call this number." Compasses do not work properly in Aokigahara. The volcanic rock beneath the soil interferes with magnetic fields. People get lost easily, very easily. Local workers who retrieve the lost refuse to sleep alone in the forest. They say the voices at night are not the wind. The forest is not closed. You can walk in today. Many people do. Not all of them walk back out.
Eastern State Penitentiary. In 1829, Eastern State Penitentiary opened in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was the most expensive building in America at the time. It was also the most terrifying. The prison was built on a philosophy called the Pennsylvania system. The idea was simple: complete isolation. Every prisoner in their own cell, 24 hours a day. No contact with other prisoners, no conversation, no human interaction of any kind. When prisoners were moved through the corridors, they wore hoods over their heads so they could not see other prisoners or be seen. The goal was reflection. Solitude would force criminals to confront their crimes and find God. What it actually did was destroy minds. Prisoners went insane, completely and rapidly insane. They screamed for days. They mutilated themselves. They stopped speaking entirely. International observers were horrified. Charles Dickens visited in 1842. He wrote that the mental suffering caused by the isolation was far worse than any physical punishment. He called it torture. The prison held some of the most famous criminals in American history. Al Capone was held there. His cell was decorated with expensive furniture and artwork. He called it his home. Even he was not immune to the prison's effect. He began to beg his guards not to leave him alone. He claimed to be visited at night by the ghost of James Clark. Overtoun Bridge. In the Scottish countryside, near the town of Dumbarton, there is a bridge, Overtoun Bridge, built in 1895. Gray stone, beautiful Gothic architecture, peaceful countryside surroundings, rolling green hills on both sides. A perfectly ordinary bridge. Except for one thing. Since the 1950s, dogs have been jumping off this bridge. Not one dog, not two, hundreds. Over 300 dogs have leaped from the same spot, on the same side of the bridge, from between the same two parapets in the last 50 years. The drop is 50 feet. Many of them die. Those that survive sometimes climb back up and jump again. Some owners whose dogs have jumped have reported that the dogs showed no signs of distress beforehand. They were walking normally, calmly, and then they simply jumped. One man watched his dog jump. He called it an inexplicable madness. Scientists have investigated. Some believe the dogs are tracking the scent of animals below the bridge. Mink, squirrels, mice. The dogs get so focused on the scent that they forget the bridge is there. That is the scientific explanation. But it does not explain why it is always the same spot. Always between the same two parapets. Always the same side of the bridge. The locals have another explanation. They say Overtoun Bridge is a thin place. A place where the boundary between this world and the next is thinner than anywhere else.
5 places, 5 completely different dark histories, but the same feeling. The feeling that something happened there that never fully left.
you can visit all 5 of these places. Poveglia Island is restricted, but the others are open. The Stanley Hotel will rent you room 217 tonight. You can walk into Aokigahara Forest tomorrow. Eastern State Penitentiary runs night tours every weekend. And Overtoun Bridge has no fence, no barrier, no warning sign. Just the bridge and whatever is on the other side. Subscribe for a new case every week. And maybe sleep with the lights on tonight.